First of all, our last count, I just correct the record, and I'm sure it wasn't meant by Deputy Healy-Rae, but he certainly got it wrong if he is suggesting that people before profit ever supported in any shape or form or voted for the carbon tax, because we most certainly did not. And this year, as in every year it has appeared, we voted against it and put it in our pre-budget submission. No, Danny, never. Not only that, to be honest, we were campaigning against it before yous were. And I had to point out to your brother at the Budget Scrutiny Committee when they were going to remove a tax relief on fuel that would have seriously affected rural Ireland, and he hadn't noticed it until I pointed it out to him. And lucky enough, that particular relief wasn't amended because we pointed it out to him, because I go to the trouble of reading budget documents. And it's on that point I want to, you see, we oppose the carbon tax for precisely the reasons Deputy Collins and Deputy Healy-Rae and other reasons. I don't buy in to the urban-rural divide. There's no doubt carbon tax is hammering unfairly rural Ireland for all the reasons that have been outlined, because they do not have alternatives in terms of public transport. But it is also in urban Ireland. This is also a problem. I mean, just to give you one recent egregious example affecting one of the most vulnerable cohorts in our society, for the want of €200,000, a volunteer, not-for-profit run disability door-to-door transport service for people in wheelchairs has closed down in my area in the last few weeks. Now, these are wheelchair users that can't use conventional public transport. The taxis are not adapted for their types of chairs, and the buses are not adapted for their types of wheelchairs. But they had a door-to-door service called ACTS, right? And I raised it for months in here, for months. I pleaded with Minister Rabbitte, Ministers Butler, and I think yourself, Minister, and said, for God's sake, can you not find €200,000 to maintain this wonderful service that brings some of the most vulnerable people, hundreds of them, to doctor's appointments, to give them a social life, and so on. Now, how are they, in the absence of that service, which has now closed down? It's outrageous, to be honest. Outrageous. How are they supposed to get to their doctor's appointments? How are they supposed to? Well, they won't have any choice but to get into cars, will they? Into somebody's car and drive, and then that will incur costs in terms of petrol or diesel or whatever, right? They don't want to do that. They'd far rather their ACTS buses, but they're gone because the government, I don't know, were you too lazy that, you know, to even just act on the issue that was raised? Because I can't believe for the want of €200,000 you couldn't sustain this service. It's just shameful. But you see, then I look, because I do read the budget documents. I read the budget documents, not just the speeches. And as if the regressive nature of the carbon tax isn't, you know, bad enough, I then look at your budget, Minister, your budget for this year, and it's cut by 17%. Right? Now, if we're trying to create alternatives, and this is in the area of climate action, if we're trying to create alternatives to replace fossil fuels, surely your budget should have gone up, not down. And in particular, the main line item where it's been reduced by 35% is in the area of energy transformation. Down 35% from last year, from 791 million to this year 513 million. Now, how the hell did that happen?
Energy credits and emergency purchase generation, which were one-off payments, which would not be repeated next year. It's not a
But now, hold on. Now, seriously, Minister, right? No, I'm glad. I want you to answer. But that's not a good enough explanation, I'm sorry. It really isn't. Energy transformation. Just think about the words in the current context. Energy transformation. We are facing the most unprecedented energy crisis. We have heard you, government ministers, one after the other, European ministers, get up and say, this is the moment we have to make the transformation. We can't be dependent on Putin. We can't be dependent on fossil fuels. We need a massive transformation. This is the moment to make the transformation. And we cut the allocation for precisely that purpose. Well, then you want to get this book reprinted. Because it says minus 35% on energy transformation. And it says for your overall department, which is the Department for Environment, Climate Action and Communications, minus 17%. Is that also incorrect?
Correct.
That is correct.
No, if we could, because there are other...
Okay, well, I'm just saying, that's pretty stunning.
Deputy, just...
No, but it's connected to this. It's connected to the rationale for this.
Deputy, can I interrupt you just for one moment, just to clarify? No, I'm not stopping you speaking. Just in case there's any misunderstanding, Resolution 1 and 2 are being discussed together. There won't be an opportunity later.
Yes, on the VAT. On the VAT. Yes, on the VAT. And this is on the mineral tax.
No, I'm just explaining to the Dáil that Resolution 1 and 2 are being taken together, that in case there's any misunderstanding. So continue.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, but it made the point. I'm against these regressive taxes because they're punishing people who don't have alternatives and choices. You should be providing them with the alternatives and choices to reduce fossil fuel use rather than punishing people, which is what is actually happening. But for goodness sake, even if you can't agree with us on that, to me, it just beggars belief. The same, by the way, in the transport budget. There's virtually no increase in the expenditure on public transport. Virtually none. And there's a reduction in your own department. Who's funding the just transition for the people affected by climate action? Clearly not this budget.